Welcome back, all our lovely particles.
Hello, happy Thursday, because the whole every Saturday thing kind of went to the birds.
We kind of wound up on a different schedule plan.
I knew as soon as she made that commitment that was a bad idea, just saying.
Or any type of time commitment,
Right.
for that matter.
We don't even believe in time.
Right.
What is time?
Time has never been my friend.
Some
I don't know about
creation.
you.
It's not real.
But
It doesn't
yeah.
exist when we die.
I am going to really try to get them out at least weekly, but we
That's
missed
what I
one
thought
week and
too.
it threw us off everything.
That, and we've had crazy. Life is what happens while
A
you're busy
lot.
making plans, for sure. So we've
Yeah,
had
for
a lot
sure.
going on.
A
as
lot
well.
has happened, yeah. Like in the
And
last
which
week
we're
or
gonna
two.
talk about.
Yes.
Because we're coming into this today kind of just doing what we normally do, and like we do like a recap of our lives, of our week.
Right.
When I started to get needy and miss my mom, and I'm like, come play, come hang out, let's do all the things.
Right.
And then we do,
And
we
then
just
we
get
laugh
together.
and laugh, and then we realize
Typically
we're
at our
recording.
expense.
Right.
But no, this is what we typically do. This is what started the idea of the podcast.
Yes.
Was that we were hanging out like we typically do, and I was like, we should start a podcast after I had gotten sucked into the
And we got to laughing.
yeah, for like 2 hours. Like I went over to literally,
Yes.
I left people hanging out waiting for me. It was like, I'll be right back. I gotta go see my mom for something. She wants you want to download like Audible or something, something really quick. Bless you. That I could run over there and download, and
Yeah, and
download
it
a few
was
books
supposed
for
to be-
her. And then I was gonna meet them back,
And I remember you saying, I can only stay a few minutes or whatever because of that. And then we ended up, talking.
2 hours later.
And then
I was like, we should do a podcast
Yeah.
because we done laughed, cried, like just hit all the ups, all the
We
downs,
did.
gave each other pep talks, did all the things.
So that's kind of what we thought we would do for this podcast, is just kind of wing it and just talk about the thing. Because we have, like she said, a lot of major things have happened in the last week or two.
Yeah.
But first, I don't know if we're going in any order because, we don't discuss this beforehand. But, so I think it's pretty obvious we're lost.
If
But-
we discuss it, then it's already been done. Like, then I'm like, well, we don't need to talk about this. We just talk
Right.
about this.
Right.
And I'm like, I have to repeat things. I'm like, well, like I was just telling you. So I was like, let's just keep some things.
Yes.
Let's just do our discussion. Let's do our weekly recap
Yes. Okay.
in front of an audience.
Yes.
And hopefully somebody somewhere gets something out of it, or they're just interested enough in our lives to be entertained.
Right. So for me personally, like I've had a pretty typical week. I mean, just babysitting and just hanging out at the house and not doing a lot of time off. But I'm not gonna lie. So therefore, I'll just end it there. How was your week? That's what you get for throwing me out here unprepared.
Valid though. So valid. She's got nothing. She's over here like, hey, that's my life.
You wouldn't know.
That's why she doesn't call me when it's weekly recap time. That's why I call her, because I'm like, Mom, we need to talk. I got all these things,
Right.
and she's like, leave me alone.
Really, nothing's happened over here all week. I was referring nothing happened this next week either. I like nothingness. You are a party record.
The party. That's the problem. I'm like, I need you to come play. We need to do the things.
Right, all the things.
All the things. Yeah, so that's what started this tonight. I'm like, well, actually, last night I started bugging her, and I'm like, I'm bored. You need to come play.
She started bugging me. I got other plans. I'm like, okay, you got 30 minutes, so 45 minutes
She
later.
sure did cut me out too. 45 minutes okay, so I've got plans. You need to get out my car.
And some of
And I
someone
didn't even
else's.
get to tell her the things I wanted to tell her. Talked my
I
ear
was
off.
like, so she's like, oh, so anyway, so and so and so and so and so and so, and I guess she doesn't notice that my eyes never really leave the clock. We're in my car, and I'm like looking at her, looking at the clock, listening, nodding, looking at the clock, answering a little bit, because you gotta pretend you're not solely thinking about something else while you're talking. And then she starts mentioning people's names, and I'm like, oh, well, yeah, and speaking of Jay, I need to be leaving here now because I was supposed to be there at such and such time, and you're making me late. And she just looked at me with this really confused look.
Like, I'm not up,
it wasn't
up the top of the
registering,
priority list.
Yeah, at all. She was like, are you joking? You're joshing me. Like, no, get out the car. Like, I only have so much time.
Truth. So, yeah, so here we are.
But I told her, I promised
making
her
up for
she's
that.
done
Yeah,
today,
she did. And she showed up and said, I
showed
here.
up, I'm here,
And she's been here, and it's been good. Because when you only get her for one day a week, you
gotta
get
make the best.
a whole day. Like, I definitely am like, oh, well, let's talk about this. Let's do this. Let's do that. Hold on, let's do this.
And sometimes I do too. I mean, there's been times I do the same. I'm like, I want to talk to somebody about
just
a lot of
razzing
things. But
each
she
other.
does, she's just more, let's just say she's more
How'd you word it?
regular about pertaining to her social responsibilities.
Yes. I don't know how
And
did
keeping
you
up
just
with
word it when we were coming in the house? And you were
I
like...
said, well, you could call it that, or you could call it you're stalking me. And she goes, oh, I only do that to people I really care about, so
You're
should
welcome
make you
that I
feel
really care about
special.
you.
I said, or intimidated, or scary.
I'm a bully.
Right, because I mean, yeah, she'll just drive you nuts. I'm bored. What are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm literally telling her, like, leave me alone. And she's like, well, we'll negotiate. Give me 30 minutes. I'm like, okay.
It's terrible, mother.
You are
You
clingy.
just want to hang out with me.
But anyways,
And all of your free time.
and I do want to hang out with her. Definitely not all of my. Nor does she want me all of her free time either.
It's true.
I think we all are aware of that.
No, only when it's convenient for me, like when I'm
Yeah.
bored.
She's so
Mom,
honest.
I'm bored. Come play. So anyway, but no. So yeah, that's where we're at, and that's what we're doing, because this is what we do once a week, usually just by ourselves, and
Yes.
it's always good. It always turns out really good. We always like have good conversation from it, and I'm like, we should do that. That's what inspired this whole thing. So typically, yeah. So she actually did have an exciting week.
Did I?
I'm done.
I need
Well,
help.
okay, she didn't have an exciting
Someone
week.
needs to remind me what I have.
Let's be real,
because I don't remember.
But she did have something, I don't know if you can call it exciting, but definitely like adrenaline rushed, where she almost got into a car accident.
Oh, that was exciting.
And so I thought we could discuss maybe that.
Sure.
And how, if your car is going like this, you should pull over.
Here's what happened.
You should not keep driving and assuming that it's just your tires are getting low. And I'm like, even if your car is bouncing around because your tires are low,
It wasn't though.
you still need to
It
pull
was-
over.
All it was doing was wobbling when I was turning left. It wasn't bouncing around any other time, but when I was turning left, it seemed a little wobbly. And I was like, my tires are low on the passenger side, really low, one of them. So I was like, that's what I thought it was. And I did notice that it was acting wobbly. Like I said, I really can't describe it any other way. It's a weird thing it was doing that I've never had. Like I said, I've made many a left turn in my life in many a vehicle. I've never wound up turning completely right and winding up in oncoming traffic during rush hour.
Which is not funny, but
Till now.
retrospectively, like, it's kind of
Yeah?
great.
Tell me retrospectively, what is it? Because I'm still feeling a little...
I felt really bad for her when she first told me about this, because I'm like sending her a text and I'm like, I just sent you a polo.
I said, Polo,
Like,
hurry up.
Get on
Like,
there and
what?
respond. And she's
I'm
like,
bored. No,
she's like, this is a really bad time. I'm in Martinville facing the wrong way. stuck in traffic, like stuck in the road.
And it was
I'm
a
like,
fact. That's literally where I was.
so, and I really was like uber concerned about her
Yes.
safety and
She
about
really
like
was.
what she had just went, like
course.
I'm sure
She
the
kept saying that
Trump.
was so scary. I bet that was
Yeah,
so scary.
like
I'm
I hate
thinking,
that you
yeah,
felt
it's
scared.
Yeah, and I get that, but it was literally like I told her, it wasn't my first rodeo. It was my first rodeo on this particular type of car breakdown, but I've had many others and some near-death experiences as well. You know, that were my fault, other people's fault. So this is really making me. I'm cutting all this out because
No way. This is great.
lady is one of
This
them
is
drivers.
great content because
None of
where
us
our
wants to
mission,
deal
our mission is to help like people or like
That's
give good
true.
advice. And if I can give any good advice from this whole situation, is that if your car's
Car wobbles
wobbling,
when you turn left or probably right, either.
it wobbles at
Either
all.
or.
Pull over.
Don't
Call for
drive it.
assistance if you do not know anything about cars. And you just
I felt like after airing up the tires, I'd be fine. But as I left the
Again.
gas station where I pumped up air into my tires, this is where
mind
it
you,
happened.
this is after. So
I
it's been
pumped the tires up.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
So it
also
wasn't the
after
tires.
no.
We figured that out.
Also after it did it all the way, like a 45-minute drive and then a half an hour drive back home, right?
No, this is right after I got the air in the tire. Like
No,
immediately.
I mean it wobbled all the way to
Yeah.
where you were going.
Only when I turned left.
and
No other time.
then halfway home. So
Until
if
I
she
got
drove
there.
it like that for like an hour and 15 minutes, thinking,
I needed to put
I
air
need
in
to put
the
air in my tires.
which I did. And immediately
An hour
after
and 15
is
minutes
where
later,
this happened.
if your car is wobbling anytime and you think it's the air in your tires, you need to put air in your tires right now because you will blow
Such
a
a
tire.
pile.
So it was either you were going to blow a tire or break the tire rod. Either way, don't keep driving the car if it wobbles. That is our solid go-to
For the
advice.
week.
For
In
the-
fact, we might have to title this video right there called Tie Rod 101.
And if you, yeah, which is basically stop.
If it breaks, a sign of that is a wobbly left turn. Also a
when it
sign
breaks-
if one front tire is going this direction and the other front tire is going that direction. It's also, I found out that's also a symptom of a tie rod issue.
Now, also though, I would also like to discuss because there's just so many things that like come from this one story. However, there are
It's
good.
the ripple effect.
Yes, it is though because there is actually good insight that came from this. For one, laughter is good for the soul, and I've laughed a lot.
A whole lot. I'll vouch for her. She's found it quite humorous. I'm so glad she got the entertainment.
Secondly, though, Mom was very, I don't know, what's the word I want to use, but like,
Nonchalant, like
well, no, that too.
Like, I
But
give
I was
up.
way more worried about
I
it than
gave
she
up
was.
years ago, so
I can,
this is all you got?
I can so see you too.
That
I'm
is
surprised you
50
got
years all
your
you got.
weed pin out when the
Yeah.
officers showed up. Just
I was
face the
literally
traffic the wrong way, like. But no, you know my deep ass is gonna take this to a serious
Take it.
level, okay?
To the left, to the left. Beyonce.
Ain't nothing going to the left of that
F
car.
out of it.
To the right, to the right. Your
Then
car.
it's left. I'm going
And all
to-
its wheels on the right, on the right.
Yeah,
Anyway.
don't turn to the left if you have an issue like I had.
But no, on a serious note of that, Mom was, I just don't know the word that I'm kind of searching for, but she was like grateful and like she was surprised and like proud of humanity because she said
Yes.
so many people
Yeah.
like stopped, and that's why probably nobody hit her is because
Yes.
like for one, thank you to the stranger who was working, we
Yeah.
think in the kitchen maybe at one of the restaurants
That
that
was
ran
right
over
across
and
the
was like,
street from me.
you know, obviously you broke down. Are you okay? I'm gonna go call somebody or
Yeah.
you know. And then also a
And
lot.
then he just disappeared, and I'm sure he did because it was within like a couple minutes the cops showed up, which thank God because it was dark and I was facing oncoming traffic in the wrong way.
And then, but also she said a lot of people stopped.
They did.
And like
For a long time.
in front of her, yeah, and like would let
the whole column of cars that was, you know, because it was a lot of traffic. And then he would basically be like guiding traffic, you know, because he was just telling them to go around. And then he would go after like it got thinned out to where all the traffic was passed, and then the next person would do the same thing for the next like column of traffic. It happened like 3 times like that, and before the cop got there to block for me, and I was like, wow, that's beautiful. That's awesome. Yeah, people were really looking out. I'm sure they probably thought this woman is driving the wrong way, but they still looked out. So
yeah, there was obviously those few people,
at least all 3 of them.
Understood the situation and was
and all the other people that just slowed down and were careful. They knew something was not right about that situation.
Again, to take something positive from this, like, other than just laughing at you hysterically.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's so easy for people to judge humanity. All the time we see it, and we see people doing stupid things, and we judge that. We all do it. We're like, oh my gosh, I've lost my faith in humanity. Anyway, I know I have, because just horrible things happen on a regular basis, and it is so easy to lose your faith in humanity. And just people, and when I really do think about like the whole bigger picture of that, I'm like, okay, I'm just so grateful for those people. Because a lot of times too, I know me, I'm one of those people like, in a hurry to get things done, rushing, don't know why, all I gotta do is live and die. Like, I love that song, because we're always always just on a
don't know
go
why,
mode,
because all we gotta do is live and die. That's a fact.
But we are always in a hurry as a society. And I'm always, trying to practice more, like, slow down. Like, but I have to literally, like, I think most people have to stop and consciously remind ourselves to slow down and, like, be present. And so, like, these people, it just, like I said, it makes me grateful for them that they, maybe they weren't in a hurry, but maybe they were.
It was rush hour, though. Most people are.
They're probably, again, all they're going is home, but they're ready to get out of traffic. They're ready to get there. And these people stop and let lines, of cars go by. To keep somebody that they did not know, just another particle, safe. And that is, like, it just, again, restores a little bit. And it
my heart was warmed. I'm waving at them, each one, going, thank you. And they're, like, waving at me, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, somebody's coming, da-da-da. So I was literally like, yeah, it really was heartwarming.
It's confirmation to me, too, because I always try to see the best.
Are not always as bad as
we do. We judge people off incidences, and we all have our moments, so that's really easy to do, too, is be like, oh, my gosh, they're horrible because they had this moment, and we all have those moments.
Right.
But I really do honestly believe in my heart and, like, try to put off that energy that humanity as a whole is good, and most people are good. We all have our flaws. We all have our I don't want to call them flaws. That's a bad word, I guess, because I think we're all exactly where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
But we all have things that we do that are human. Yeah. We all have human
imperfections. We're not perfect.
Emotions and reactions and things like that. Yeah. So it's so easy to like see some like one action and just judge humanity as a whole. But honestly, I do try to believe, and it's just part of like people, describe it as naivety, or I'm just too happy or whatever. And so to me though, that's confirmation that like, no, there really is like good in people, and humanity has not sold its soul to the devil yet. Like there really are still good people out there.
Yeah.
People who are willing to look out for strangers, people who are willing to do good deeds, people who are, like I said, just like again, the whole 2 particles in a podcast, the particle thing, like that's 2 particles that literally impacted each other and had the ripple effect. That's what we mean when we say we're all connected. We don't know who those people were. They don't know who we were. They have no idea that they have affected my mindset or warmed my heart. But they had that impact, and that's why I truly believe in like the random acts of kindness and doing all the good things, because it does have the ripple effect, and it is inspiring to bring out more good, and to like, when I know I feel better and I'm going to do more good when I go out into the world and I think, you know what, no, people are good, and it's worth coming out into the world for, versus being so against humanity, and thinking that they're all like, we just went down the rabbit hole.
Right.
So I can
and
really.
No one equals their worst move or their worst moment or their worst mistake. No one equals that. But then, and obviously you also have to, a lot of times people like us see the good in humanity, and there is beauty, wonderful, like just happened to me, and a lot of other things I could bring up, but we'll keep it lighter. But yeah, those things are there, and then there are people that are particles that just aren't, they're on the dark side, they're just too blind, too lost, or whatever. And we still want to see the good in them. And a lot of times it has to do with, if you're a good person, you're going to look for the good in others. And if you're, you know, a lot of times a cynical person or a negative person, then you're going to judge more. But a lot of times, even those of us that are really trying to be positive are still judgmental. We catch ourselves, you know,
to be
doing
human.
so. But yeah, but what she's saying is right. Like, if you never, how are you going to change the world? How are you going to do anything to affect and make it better? If you're thinking the worst of everyone, you're not going to, you know, obviously open up to anyone or want to.
No, or be an uplifting, inspiring, you know, to spread a kindness and make the, like, I much prefer the goodness ripple effect. Which,
Yes.
Who wouldn't? Again, I really do believe humans as a whole want good. Who wants to feel bad? Who wants to feel bad? And when we make other people feel bad, or like when we feel bad, like, I mean, honestly, it feels gross. I don't know if I know anybody that actually enjoys it, but I feel like we're so cynical and calloused because of the things we experience.
Almost habitualized to it.
Yeah, and like we are afraid to open up because we get disappointed all the time and different things like that. And I just don't let that, like,
no,
I don't really let that spark. I don't want that spark to go anywhere.
Putting a wall in front of your own blessing. Like, because how can you receive anything good if you're just going to assume
Absolutely,
the worst?
You get what you put out.
Yeah,
you know, so if you're expecting the worst out of everybody, you're going to get the worst from everybody because and plus you're going to just manipulate it. It's perception.
People can also feel your vibe, your energy.
They
if you have that kind of attitude,
and you can spin anything if you have that kind of attitude. There could be something good and you can take it and spin it because that's how you choose to perceive it.
Just like you can turn negative things into a positive.
Yes, absolutely. Well, again, and with that, to make that full circle, like, so again, I was like concerned about Mom's like mental state after that because I just thought, what a terrifying thing. She's fine. She probably disassociated. Probably didn't even come back in.
I haven't had one bad thought about it other than laughter at this point.
But to come full circle with that, honestly, as we stated at the beginning of this podcast, we had no idea what we were going to do it on. Like, we're just winging it. Right. We're just talking about something that happened during our week. And so, like, just the whole everything happens for a reason. Like, I feel like we just shared a solid message, a funny story, like, entertaining, and, like...
Yeah, a true story.
And made a really good, you know, little show off of
your
incident that, you know, could have been taken so many ways. Like, oh my gosh, why does God keep doing this to me? Why is my life like this? Why my car broke down again? You know, and just all the negative things that we could have taken that and how scary it was, or like the trauma, or just, you know, life, it's always something, you know, when it rains, it pours. But you kept a really positive attitude about it. Like, you were fine. Yeah. And then also, like, we turned a negative into a positive. And also, maybe, you know, maybe everything does have purpose. Like, like, if that wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't have been able to share this, like, awesome experience with everybody. So...
And I got lucky on all of it because the car got fixed the same night, which was shocking.
Yeah.
And I'm so
grateful. Like, she pulled up at my house the next day and I was like, who is that? Can't be my mom. Her car just broke down yesterday.
So, I mean, everything worked out really the best way it possibly could.
But I really think that maybe that's all the good juju. Like you said, like, you weren't... She wasn't mad at God, mad at the world, shook up. Like, she was just like, oh, like she said, she's like, my first thought was, rodeo. Is this my life? Okay, well, at least it's nothing if not entertaining.
Right.
And honestly, probably she might need a little entertainment when she hangs out. Like she said, she's like, I didn't do much, so at least I had a little excitement this week.
Gives me something to talk about to the grandkids. Tell the grandkids about. Nana does live a little.
Like, where were you? Why weren't you at your window when I beat on it? And she's like, well,
that might have been
the one day this week I did something.
I got delayed coming home.
But it's great. Like I said, like, we can just go full circle with that. And, like, again, I believe you get what you put out. Yes. You guys know this, the mind over matter thing. So, if, like, since she, like I said, I really think, I'm sure that played a big part. Because it could have went downhill. And I do think our thoughts create. So the fact that, like, I mean, so many bad things could have happened.
Oh. Ain't no doubt. The cop was like, you're really lucky. I'm like, yeah, I know. Just a lucky gal.
But even there's beauty in that, though, because she, again, that you could be sitting there going, like, how unlucky, my car just broke down, they're facing oncoming traffic. But instead, she's, like, counting her blessings. Yeah. Like, how lucky am I? Like, I survived that unscathed, you know? Just have one broken tie rod and somebody fixed it that night, like she said. So there's just, I just feel like there's perception. That is a big thing that, like, I wasn't even planning on talking about. But to wrap like everything up, I will say perception is
so
like everything. Like it's how you choose to see something. You can
And
choose
you
to make
do
it
have a
bad,
choice.
or you can choose to make it good, and you can choose to take like that's a crazy, like I said, could have been traumatizing, could have been bad experience,
Right.
and we've turned it all the way around into
Yeah.
some real entertainment. Like I said, fed my soul because I've laughed all afternoon about it.
And I'm so glad because she was actually way more worried about me than, you know, I wouldn't want her to be that worried. Like she was like, I know that had to be scary. I know that had to be scary.
I just hated like in that moment. I was afraid she felt fear.
Well, in that moment, I mean,
I know that's a horrible feeling. I hated that you had to feel it at all.
But yeah, me too. Me as well. But
now I'm kind of grateful you did
but
those.
since I did,
That little bit of fear has been counteracted with a whole lot of good
I'm
stuff.
telling you, but since it happened, I've laughed about it. Even before we left, like so much today about it. Even before that, like I was kind of laughing already. I was like, only Christy, only you. Like I'm literally telling myself, you woman. People won't believe any of my dang stories when I'm old because they're gonna already know I was nuts to start with. They're gonna hear all the stories from when I was younger and already nuts, and they're gonna be like, "We know that's way too far fetched. You did not," and I did. Like I did this. I know we're in a matrix, but stranger things have happened. Probably to me.
It's true. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm like,
is good.
we didn't even get to me, but that's fine because
We'll
honestly,
do her next week.
I'm disassociating
Next
this week.
Oh, let her have her week. I did it for 6 months, so we'll give her a week of that.
We have had a lot going on, and honestly,
Yes.
like I've not really been alone with my own thoughts purposefully for like a week. So like don't even want to kill the mood with like we
Yeah,
can't
we'll
jump
just-
from that to
It
the
won't
rabbit
work. I
hole.
don't feel like it's gonna blend.
No. So it worked out perfectly. So yeah, perfect. So next
Yeah.
week we'll you know,
Get to her side
perhaps
or not.
it's my turn.
We'll figure
I get
something.
that.
You guys
I'm
tell
like,
us.
that's a total excuse now. I'm
And
like,
guys-
oh, people just disassociate? Then you can do that? Okay.
And then she realized she's like, oh gosh, I think I do this as well, Mom. Yeah, I think you taught me
Perfect.
this.
Let's do it. Like, just for a little while sometimes.
But
you
yeah.
got to.
A lot has happened
Self-preservation.
this week, though, guys, in the family. So if we didn't get back to anybody's comment or anything, I'm so sorry. I'm going to check them all tonight after we get done with this. And I will stay in touch with y'all. But it's been, yeah, like I said, kind of crazy with other things in the family. So forgive us. We're going to just keep rolling with this. Just roll with us.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. And as always, blessings to you all. We
Yes.
love you all. We see you all. We really do feel like we are connected with you all. And we appreciate you all because without you, there is no me.
Or me.
Amen to that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Love you guys.
Until next time.
Until next time.
1.
Facing oncoming traffic in rush hour.
Inquiring minds.
I literally almost laughed out loud. I was like, how is this my life though? What's going on? Next thing I knew, your dad showed up, pulled me out of the matrix. By 9 o'clock, everything was back to normal. I can't. I'm done. Either give me drugs or deal with this. Put me out of my misery. This is inhumane at this point. It's like watching a rabid animal stumble all over itself. Foam at the mouth. And he has seizures repetitively and be like, oh, how entertaining. She's not fucking up. Let's pull a prank. I think she's gonna turn left.
Oh, it's so messed up.
Like she's done many times before. In many vehicles.
Just for funsies this time.
We're gonna show her some things that she didn't think was possible. It's opposite day.
It hurts.
It's all very painful.
However,
all right, let's go.
I still maintain.
We've loosened
You
up.
should have known better.
We've cried. We've sobbed.
We've laughed. We've cried. Why has today been 4 hours? Or 4 hours?
Seems like it's been 4 days.
4 days. That's what I meant. Thursday was like 4 days long, so. Okay.
All right, let's do this.